Shalom. Kal halalim la Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Okay. Shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and greater multitude of men, women, and children. May peace and blessings be upon your households and the spirit of endurance. Okay. Obviously, we've been, from our elders on down. Oh, yeah, one thing I want to add is subscribe to the men of the Lord, from our apostles on down, the men of Great Millstone, who are the mouthpiece of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Whether you want to believe it or not, your belief is irrelevant. Okay, the truth is the truth. Okay, Romans 8:16, the Spirit bears witness. Okay, now back to the fact of the matter here. More companies are laying people off, various firms, and most of these firms which are laying people off, you got a good portion of Jakes working there. When I say Jakes, I'm talking about Israelites. Now, from an American perspective, all the so-called blue collar jobs and the truck drivers and the security and men and women that work in these stores, Amazon or whatever, places like that. And even though Amazon is a huge conglomerate, they're still getting rid of a lot of people too, as well as other organizations. A lot of Israelites work there. Heathens work there too, so it's going to affect pretty much everyone as a whole. But what's happening is Yahweh Shemir Shai, through the left-hand side, people, puppets he has, Salaki, I mean left-hand side demons, right? They're doing their work in terms of making sure that this kingdom is coming to a closure. All right, they're slowly, as they say, like it's like one of those mobile homes where they put like they set the mobile home down and then they lay out the lawn, so it's going to be there for a few years, or I don't know how it works. Somebody might pay lease or rent for the land or something for about 10 years until they move on somewhere else. This is the same thing. Basically, Esau is basically, removing the bits and pieces of his kingdom away. And it starts with the money, because if there's no money, no honey, right? No money, no honey. There's no life, so-called lifestyle. You can't do nothing. If all these establishments are closing, from pubs to bars to clubs, social clubs, gyms, because gyms are, everything's increasing in price. Okay, and then everything's increasing in price, and there's no jobs. People are not going to do that. People are not going to go to these establishments. It's a domino effect. One thing affects another. Okay, start playing tag as a child. Everything affects another. Every single thing affects another. It's like a chain link. Ultimately bringing the demise. All right. So Esau's basically putting up sticks, as they say. Is that the term? Putting up the foundations of his kingdom. All right. And Yahweh Shemashai is doing that. But ultimately, they want to bring in the M-O to the T to the B, which is Revelation 13:16. And for that to happen, they have to destroy the economy. Right? You can't have a successful economy and then they can try and implement the RF to the I to the D to the rice grain. They can't do that. All right, so they have to do whatever they have to do to destroy the society, whether it's cyber attacks, whether it's a freeze on wages. Wages are the same as they were year 2000, and they trying to implement those wages now in 2025. Because a lot of these firms are owned by the powers that be. It might have a different name or a face in front of it, but right at the top is always the so-called elites that own it. Okay? And they tell their puppets, the MDs, the directors, or whatever, CEOs, okay, here, freeze the wages, this is how we're going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And all across the board it's happening. I mean, I was on LinkedIn yesterday, because I get notifications on my phone because I'm on LinkedIn. You know, you get a lot of information about the economy and layoffs and things like that as well. And there was an individual there saying that he had to let two of his best employees go. I mean, not let them go. He said he was doing an exiting interview, right? And he said they had to leave their current role. I think they were carers or something to do with either working in a care home. They couldn't earn enough because of the rising costs. And this is in the UK. So he had to do, so he was basically, I think he was a HR director or a HR manager. And he's talking about doing exiting interviews for a lot of his employees that are trying to find jobs elsewhere or trying to find a second job, or they're going to basically, working in supermarkets that are still somewhat still established, you know, that need people, you know. So a lot of people are feeling the pinch when it comes to finances. A lot of people are taking on second jobs. A lot of people are leaving certain jobs to find jobs elsewhere, and jobs are very scarce as well, you know. Okay, so for that one, you could be like working in a supermarket as, stocking up shelves, night shift or whatever, right? And there could be, instead of like 50 applications for a specific job, for example, right? There could be 200 applications. So obviously, people that are trying to, don't have as much experience, they're gonna be left out. So it's gonna be like a dog eat dog world, which it is anyway, and it's always been like that. But it's gonna go to the point where these people are gonna be literally eating dogs out here. They're gonna be eating Rover, like that woman said in the. I think a brother made a video the other day about a woman saying that she's gonna eat Rover. Basically trying to say that she's gonna eat a dog if food runs out. It's coming to that point, man. All right, and some serious things are going to happen this summer. I don't think we're going to be in a very complacent world where things are still, we things are happening, but major things are not happening. I think, all those movies, they're going to come to life, man. That come in your mind. The one that comes in my mind is it The Fifth Wave, where the girl goes to school one day, right? Everything's normal. She's got a nice life. She's got the hots for a certain young lad in her school. Their mobile phones work. It's a sunny day. They go to a party that night, and within 24 hours, all that so-called normal day, you know, like a thief in the night, the whole world was turned upside down. Okay, watch the movie The Fifth Wave if you haven't seen it. It came out in 2016. All right. Go to scripture first before Isaiah. A lot of the elders are reading NLT versions, so I'm gonna. Okay, because a lot of you trust in Egypt. Now, Egypt today would be America because that's the ruling party at the moment. And the modern day Egyptians are the Edomites, so-called white man. Not literally the Egyptians, Hamites, okay, but they're a version. Could basically they're an exemplification of the current rulers of today. All right, hence the reason why they follow the same similar doctrines and practices of ancient Egypt, of Hamite Egypt. That's why there's a pyramid on the dollar bill, letting you know that's modern day Egypt. Okay, that once shining lights, shining city, right, where everybody wanted to go, and they've got the children of Israel captive there. Isaiah 31, verse 1. What sorrow awaits those who look to Egypt for help? A lot of you looking towards Egypt for help. Okay, you're looking for Donald Trump, even our own people. Donald Trump, help us. You're not praying to the Most High. You're not asking Yahweh Shem Shai. You've seen the men of the Lord, but you make mockery of it. You make mockery of the truth. Okay, but yet you've been believing in a so-called white man and Christmas and a fat cracker coming down the chimney trying to give you gifts and stuff. Actually, who's a PDF file, right? You believe in all that. You believe in dressing like ghouls and goblins, knocking on people's doors, asking for money or sweets or candy or whatever. but you don't believe in the truth of Yahweh Bashim Yashai, man. Which goes to show a lot of our people are going to get deleted. All right. You don't look, you look at the creation for help. You don't look at the creator for help. What sorrow awaits those who look to Egypt for help, trusting their horses, chariots, and charioteers, and depending on the strength of human armies instead of looking to the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, the Holy One of Israel. In his wisdom, the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai will send great disaster. He will not change his mind. He will rise against the wicked and against their helpers. For these Egyptians are mere humans, not the Most High. Their horses are puny flesh, not mighty spirits. When the Lord Yahweh Shai raises his fist against them, those who help will stumble, and those being helped will fall, and they will all fall down and die together. And that's what's going to happen. Those that look, I don't care about the damn heathen. Okay, they're finished anyway. They can bitch and moan. I don't care. I'm talking about my people, the Israelites. No matter what they look like on the outside. You paternally are Jake, you're a Jake. All right. Romans 8:16. All right. Spirit bears witness. But for the bulk of it, as Elder Malcolm would say of GMS Chicago, don't get it twisted, are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians. All right. But there's Jakes everywhere else too. Okay. And our people, man, they just don't. There was an element of spirituality 30 years ago. Now Jake doesn't have that no more. Jake just believes in himself, believes in standing on his own too. They still think to this day the Bible is a so-called white man's book. They still celebrate Christmas. They still go to church. Some of these Jakes still got Caesar Borgia tattooed. They got like a brown version of Caesar Borgia tattooed on their arm. If they do believe in some kind of higher power or whatever, some kind of spiritual belief. For the most, Jake don't care because we are at the worst in terms of human existence, worst in terms of health. We're puny, we're weak. And Jake is bugged out. Jake is like a gremlin. You ever seen the movie The Gremlins? Jake is like that, man. Especially those crazy ones at the first one with the mohawk and all that. That's exactly like these Jakes today, man. Bugged out. They don't. A lot of our people are gonna die, man. Where's the article? Okay, AI overview. Yes, there is evidence of increased layoffs in the UK. All right, you Jakes are looking for the so-called white man for help. You don't understand that the gospel means good news, and it's good news for you. Okay, you think that you're gonna die, and you're gonna go up in the sky, and then you're gonna live. Okay, you don't understand the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven's gonna be on earth. Okay, you're gonna be living, existing. You think that, oh, I don't want to go to heaven because I won't be able to get no pussy. I won't be able to get a woman. I won't be able to have a drink. I won't be able to do this and that. Listen, in the kingdom, for the Israelites, yes, there's gonna be a normal, not let's just say a healthy existence, how we were supposed to live. You're gonna have children. You're gonna have wives. You're gonna have. Most importantly, we're gonna have Yahweh Hashem Shai, and we're gonna have the laws. And from there, everything else is there. All right. You Jakes just don't understand. You just don't understand. All right. That's why you're trying everything, scraping and scrambling, trying to go to Trump, trying to vote. Voting doesn't make a damn difference. It's already predetermined because Esau, you just want to see where your thought processes are going. They want to see what people are thinking, who's popular, who's not popular. All right. So then they can do certain things in the background to make you. They're gonna say, okay, cool. These people are going towards this individual. That means they're thinking this way. Let's do this. Put something in their food, the water, so they think this way. And let's vaccinate them as well. I'm just laying a few examples down. Yes, there's evidence of increased layoffs in the UK, with companies planning the biggest redundancy round in a decade. This is being driven by factors like rising employment costs, national insurance and wages. National insurance is like a tax. National insurance and wages, coupled with declining business confidence and cost-cutting measures. CIPD research indicates that 1 in 4 employers, 25%, are planning redundancies in the next 3 months, the highest number in the last 10 years outside of the pandemic. This is a significant increase from the previous quarter and particularly pronounced in the private sector. Declining business confidence. Business confidence is low, with small businesses predicting a contraction. This is partly due to upcoming increases in national insurance contributions and the national minimum wage, forcing businesses to either cut costs or raise prices. And obviously, if you raise prices, people are not going to go there because people can't afford it. If there's a wage freeze and people are complaining about, oh, how come the wages are like 2002? We're in 2025, rising employment costs. The planned increases in employment costs, particularly for national insurance, are a major factor driving companies to consider layoffs or hiring freezes, according to a survey by CIPD. Okay, this is 26th of February 2025. UK companies are cutting jobs at the fastest rate since a year of the pandemic, with the upcoming budget cost increases accelerating workforce reductions, according to new research from S&P Global. What is a CIPD? Let me just Google that. What is a CIPD? Chartered Institute, was it? The Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development is a globally recognized professional body for human resources and learning and development professionals. Okay, that's what it is. All right. Let's just go into a couple of articles here. This is from 3 days ago. I don't know whether you guys have Morrison's in the States, because we've got Lidl over here, and I believe you guys have Lidl over there as well. There's some things going on there as well. But Morrison's is like a supermarket. All right. It's like kind of like a Walmart, food. So it's like basically real, like the lower end of the food scale, cheaper bread, cheaper fruit, things of that nature. Companies that announce major layoffs and hiring freezes. April the 29th, 2025. Intelligence is the website. I'll go through this, skim through it. Layoff Tracker 2025. Recent layoffs of the week. April 28th, 2025. Magazine distributor Accelerate 360 will close its South Dakota plant and cut 324 jobs, including 22 in Missouri. Okay, this is America. Okay, let me just go through this anyway. So it's going to be a worldwide, nevertheless, but America is ground zero, of course. April the 27th, 2025. Nissan cuts non-core operations to manage costs. April 25th, 2025. 580 jobs cut as Amalie Arena contract ends. April the 24th, 2025. Coty to cut 700 jobs amid strategic overhaul. April the 23rd, 2025. Intel will cut over 21,000 jobs in a major restructuring under the new CEO. 21,000 jobs. All right. Let's just, 21,000 homes. And out of each home, there's probably about 4 people. So 21,000 times 4. And how do you think that's going to affect the economy, man, and people's lifestyles and expenditure day to day? Everything adds up. That's just a little example there from one organization called Intel laying off 21,000 people. Can you imagine thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of companies closing down, and 21,000 times, I don't know, 21,000 times, I don't know, let's just say 500, a small example there. Yeah. No money coming in, no foot traffic to any, the minute number of stores that are still out there on the high street. People not spending online. Okay. Businesses not making any money. Owners of companies not making any money. So there's no, there's no, what's the word? There is no expenditure. There's a word I'm missing. It's not coming to mind. There's no disposable income. People can't, disposable income is usually like money that you have to buy, things that are so-called fun or enjoyable. that are so-called outside of your necessity needs. Like maybe, people are not going to be going to the gym, restaurants. So we're coming to a world where everything's going to be more and more bleak, and the world is not going to go back in time. America is not going to be great again. Neither is the UK or any part of this cracker kingdom. Recent federal government layoffs 2025. In Q1 2025, the US workforce faced major disruptions driven by federal layoffs, corporate restructuring, cost-cutting measures, economic pressures, and financial distress across sectors. I'm reading a little fast because it's 4:24 a.m. and the time is of the essence. Slovakia. Federal agencies drove over half of all layoffs this quarter, with over 150,000 job cuts reported in February and 2025, reported in February and March this year. 150,000 job cuts. Leading companies that announced layoffs in 2025: Dell, 12,000; Chevron, 8,000; DHL, okay, all right, which is like a courier service in the UK. I think, I don't know, yeah, I'm sure you have it in the States as well. Of course you do, because it delivers over there, doesn't it? All right, DHL, 8,000; Audi, 7,500; Estee Lauder, 7,000; Meta, 3,600. Which one is this? Commercial Bank, 3,900; DBS, 4,000; BP, 4,700; Siemens, 5,600. Number of major layoffs and hiring freezes in 2025. The United States Cellular Corp. Number of employees to be laid off, 4,100. Saint Microelectronics, 2,800. Wiresoft, or was it Wickersoft? Wickersoft, 2,800. General Motors, 500. Zomato, 600. UPS, 672. Jeans West, 600. Block, 1,000. Morrison's, 365. Morrison's plans to shut down 17 convenience stores, 52 cafes, and over 100 in-store services. The supermarket chain also plans to cut 18 market chains, 13 florists, 35 meat counters, 35 fish counters, and 4 pharmacies in the next few months. The changes put 396 Morrison employees at risk of redundancy, the company has said. Okay. And Morrison's is very big in the UK too. Obviously, all these European car brands: Siemens, Audi, 5,600 Siemens, 7,500 Audi. So we went to that. USPS, 10,000. United States Postal Service, right? John Hopkins University, 2,000. Chewy, 650. DHL, 8,000. Goldman Sachs, 1,395. Geostar, 110. Ola Electric, 1,000. Starbucks, 1,100. Hewlett Packard, 2,000. Saks Global, Chevron, 8,000. Commerce Bank, 3,900. Okay, it wasn't Commercial Bank, it was Commerce Bank. Blue Origin, 1,400. Which one is this? Porsche, 1,900. Bell Canada, 1,200. Blue Origin, 1,400. Estate, okay, we went through that. Yeah, there you go, man. Just going through the numbers there. Going through the numbers is kind of exciting, isn't it? Okay, let's just go through. Which one should we go to? Firms to cut jobs ahead of rise in employment costs. Let's go to the scripture first as well, man. Did I read this? Yes, I did. Isaiah 19 and 14. The Lord Yahweh Shemashah hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither, verse 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, no work which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. In that day, verse 16, shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, Lord of armies, which he shaketh over it. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt, and every one that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he hath determined against it. All right, there's no work in Egypt, man. Okay, and Judah is going to be a terror because once this race war kicks off, okay, the tribe of Judah, Yahweh, is going to lead the way. The other tribes are going to follow suit. Okay, a lot of Jakes are going to die too, but a lot of Jakes, are gonna keep coming at you, like Shaka Zulu did against some crackers. A lot of them, whatever they were, right, kept coming at them Edomites, right? Those Hamites did, but the Hamites kept coming and coming, because we're like the sands of the sea. But Jake is gonna get it in, you know. Jake's gonna get it in. Them 2/3 Jakes are gonna get it in. Then you're gonna see the elect get spiritual power as well. But overall, what we're focusing on here right now is won't be any work in Egypt, man, because the Lord is shaking it. The Lord is shaking things up. I want to go to the NLT version, Isaiah 19 and 14. Have I got that there? Okay, well, I guess we got to the point there anyway. Okay, yeah. Isaiah 55 and 6. Seek ye the Lord Yahweh Shemashai while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. All right, so why the Lord is near, right? While you have that chance, while you can still see the men of the Lord teaching. If you live in a city or a town and you walk past them on a Saturday or a Friday afternoon, whenever the elders and brothers are out there, when the Lord blesses them with a day to teach, it's a blessing unto you if you're an Israelite to hear them and if you take heed. Don't make fun of this because when all hell breaks loose, it's not going to be good news for you. You think that, okay, these things that, all this hell breaking loose and all these things people talking about, they've been talking about it. Yeah, is it the year 2K and this is going to happen in the year 2000 and it didn't happen, and what Esau was saying, the year 2000, as soon as it hits midnight, that's it, the world's going to end or whatever. People have been talking about it. Like the boy who cried wolf, but nothing's happening. All these things only happen in movies. So you're sitting at home comfortable with your blunt in your hand and a hot chocolate in your hand, with your house shoes on, with your foot on your footrest, on your big screen TV in front of you, watching horror movies and scary movies and movies that, make you, jump in the dark or whatever, but feeling comfortable and confident in your home, with your front door locked. Those doors are going to be kicked in. And when they're kicked in, I'm going to call the police. The police are going to be trying to protect their home. There ain't going to be no police. So while, in martial law, race riots, people that are hungry, people are going to be trying to eat you, grape you, male, female, and children. I know it sounds horrible, but that's the way it's going to be. All right. And I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg at the moment. I can get even more detailed and gruesome. All right. But you know the prophecies. All right. Second is Ezra 6 verse 9. For Esau, the so-called white man, is the end of this world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. So take heed while the prophets are there, man. Learn the name. All right. Okay, you might not know the Lashon and Kodash, but at least the Lord, if the Lord gives you the name of Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai and you face the east, you don't know the east, you got a mobile phone, download the app. Okay, you don't have the app at the moment, something wrong with your phone, internet slowing down, that's Satan fucking about. You estimate where the east is. The Lord knows that you're trying sincerely, and pray. All right? Pray. In the name. You might not know all the Hebrew, all right, but you're praying in the name. The Lord understands. So while you have this chance, okay, because there's only so many times, it's like a father disciplining his child. The father, the Most High is going to tell you. The Father's going to tell you. Yahweh Shemashai is going to tell you. 2, maybe 3 times. If you don't listen, what does an earthly father do to his child or his son if he doesn't listen? Tommy, I told you to do your homework, and I told you to do your chores. You don't do it, what happens? Tommy gets, whacked around the ear, whacked in the back of the legs if he's 9, 10 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old. I know 14 is a little old to get whacked around the ear, but sometimes in this kingdom, children need it. Obviously within reason and discipline, of course. But the Most High, when the Most High whacks you around the ear, it's not going to be a literal whack around the ear. It's going to be something ferocious. All right. And if you Jake likes drama. Well, the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is the ultimate Jake, and the Lord likes drama, man. And the Lord gets real intricate and meticulous and poetic with it, man. All right. You've seen Final Destination, right? You can't outrun your death. So seek the Lord. Isaiah 55:6. Seek ye the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. So call upon the Lord, man. You have the chance before the lights go out. And yeah, the lights been going out in Spain, Portugal, France. Yeah, it happened in the UK a couple of times. All right. I was outside and my whole street was black. No night, phones weren't working. Women were walking around in the dark with their babies in their prams because they couldn't sleep. And that was only for a few hours. How much more when it's permanent? Okay? And the men of the Lord are prophesying and telling you, showing you what's going on, showing you what's going on in this world. Okay? So the Most High is not going to come off his throne and come down and say, and whisper in your ear, this is going to happen. The Lord is going to use his servants, the men of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yashai, the men of Great Millstone, and likewise camps that give double honors to the elders. Isaiah 42:9. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. It's like revising for an exam. You got an exam in 2 weeks, and your teacher says to you, okay, revise this page, that, blah, 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 revise it. So when you do your exam, you have a chance at passing. Now the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is using the men of the Lord, right, as teachers to give you a chance at hopefully getting through the straight gate. So you listen and take heed. All right. Okay. And a good student, if he is chosen, will pass that test. Now, if a student was called, right, but he didn't study and didn't learn, what's going to happen? He's going to fail that test. All right. So if it's in your lot, you will take heed to the men of the Lord. If not, then you're going to be part of the book of Zechariah, man. 13:8 or 13:9. 13:8 and 13:9. I believe 2 parts shall be cut off and 1/3 will make it through. Paraphrasing. All right. You might not be part of that 1/3. You can be part of that 2/3. All right. And the Lord's got many ways where you can get deleted as well. Starvation, graped, partially kept alive, in a basement where they're chopping your bits of your body off and then keeping you alive so the meat is fresh of your body and they cook it. You think they make movies like The Road and The Book of Eli for fun. They're showing reality. That's how America's going to be very soon. All right? That's how it's going to be. And this is the beginning of sorrows. Okay, and a lot of you are feeling the pinch. A lot of you are working and your money's going through holes, man. They're bagged with holes. Haggai 1:6. You have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled. But ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. All right. Your money just you got a little pouch or whatever. You put some dough in it. What happens? You do some shopping. You put some fuel in the car. What the hell? How much did I spend this week? And you think, damn. It's going. Your bag's always empty. It's like putting wages into a bag with holes. Right? People are feeling the pinch, man. People are feeling the pinch, and a lot of you are going to fall into a trap. That's a good scripture. Blind leaders of the blind. A lot of you people, that are taking heed, but you've got false prophets that you're following. You think that the charagma or the mark of the beast, Revelation 13:16, is a doctrine and not a literal thing. All right, and you guys are also basically the Lord has chosen you to be part. To get into. You think that you're in the truth, but basically the Lord has put you in a stumbling block situation. You're following the incorrect camp or the group, or you're following false teachers. Matthew 15:14. Let them alone. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Okay, that's another way. You're going to have 2 parts that are going to die. You're going to have some jakes that think they're in the truth. They're going to die. Then you're going to have some jakes that made fun of the truth, made mockery videos and disrespectful videos, and made fun of the name of Yahweh Hashem Shai by saying however some people are saying it, saying, I'm not going to repeat how they said it, but the Lord knows how they said it. The Lord's going to get you too, man. All right. Unless it's the Lord's will for you to say, you know what, I'm sorry, repent and all that, apologize. Maybe make a video on that. You made a video to mock the name. Make a video now to apologize, and maybe the Lord will look at you in a favorable way if it's the Lord's will. You know, if it's the Lord's will. Okay. Let's have a quick look at this. UK firms. Oh my God, here we go. UK firms mull biggest layoffs in a decade as business confidence slumps. Okay. I used to be a pub, a thriving pub. Pubs are big business in the UK. I remember growing up in the 80s. In my neighborhood, there was approximately within a mile radius, there was probably at least 10 to 15 pubs. Probably more. There's probably one on every corner. And they were always full because people had disposable income. People were working. This is 40 years ago. Now today, you would have never seen this 40 years ago. We're seeing the demise of this world, man. The Lord is plucking up that which was planted. Esau's world was planted. Now the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is plucking it out, saying, okay, that's enough. All right, you've reached the finishing line. You've had your fun in the sun, Esau. Not that Esau can go in the sun. You've had your fun in the sun, Esau. Okay, rulership over. Now you got to go into your punishment stage. All right, Revelation. Is it Revelation 39 and 10? That's Revelation 39 and 10. 13, 9 and 10, isn't it? Revelation 13, 9 and 10. No. He that leadeth into captivity, King James Version. Yeah, that was it, 13 and 10. Yeah, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And the saints are patiently waiting for this cracker to go into chains. And the saints are going to have fun fucking them up daily, along with the other heathens. Just because I haven't mentioned you other nations doesn't mean you're forgotten. You're going to be gotten too. But Esau, the so-called white man, is going to get the brunt of it because this is his rulership, and he's been the worst. This is the worst captivity we Jakes have been in. All right, I'm not going to read the whole thing. UK employees are preparing for the biggest redundancy round in a decade. I think we read that. Amid collapsing business confidence. Okay, we read that. All right. Ultimately, I'm not going to go through this. UK, America, is affecting everything worldwide because remember, a company could have a head office in the UK but have satellite offices and branches all over the world. All right, and people in each of these countries work for those specific firms, whether it's remotely or physically. So everyone's going to get affected. And obviously, with remote jobs and people aren't having lunchtime in the high street no more, or in certain areas of London or other cities around the world, don't you think those lunch counters are being affected? Don't you think people are not buying burgers and fries or other kind of foods during lunchtime? It's affecting them. It's affecting the waiters, the chefs, the bar staff. It's affecting everybody. So this is going to be a very dangerous world very soon. But the elect are going to be protected, and a lot of the elect and some of the elect are going to get spiritual power too, and that's another story. And not another story. That's another topic. All right. All right. I'm gonna leave it there now. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Hashai Bashem Rakakwadash. All right, we are seeing the demise of Esau's world piece by piece in real time. And that's a beautiful thing. Shalom.